come forward and lead us. She can get out. You can just come right here if you want. Get to be in the spotlight. There you go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Hannah. Next on the agenda is the roll call. Let the minutes show that all 5 board members were present. Next is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Discussion or questions? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by David. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving into informational items. First is a spotlight report for the middle school and high school musical programs. Ms. Hedges and Ms. Corsine, do you guys want to introduce the students to everyone? That you know that.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amber Hedges. I am the middle school band and choir director. I'm super excited to be here tonight to share some awesome things that are happening in our music program at the middle school. So thanks for the invitation and thank you guys for being here. Most recently, I wanted to share about some students that participated in our Northern Kentucky Select Band. This is a special group that auditions throughout Northern Kentucky District 6. Those students would range from, there are over 28 different middle schools that people send their students to audition for this particular group that is hosted by the Northern Kentucky University. It's hosted there, but the Northern Kentucky Band Directors Association are the group that organizes the event, which I'm a member of. So we had over 28 different middle schools that sent 347 students to audition to participate in 2 different middle school ensembles. So we had a 6th and 7th grade band, and then we had an 8th grade group. And this is the first year that we have sent this large number of students. Every year we have a few students who will take that challenge from me and go above and beyond what we're doing in the regular classroom, either with myself, just on their own, or with a private instructor and work on their music, which again is way more difficult than some of the things that we're practicing every day in our regular ensembles here at school. So this year we had 16 middle school students that did that and went to the audition at Cooper High School. And it was kind of a crazy event because we got snowed out the first day, the first go around, so it was supposed to be on a Saturday. Got snowed out, so they had a couple extra weeks to go to practice. They went and it was on a Monday night, and just being there and judging, I was, we were there as directors until almost 10 p.m. and some of our students, that's way past their bedtimes. So we appreciated the fact that parents had to transport their students there, get them there. The students did great in finding where they were supposed to be and completing their auditions. And again, these are the students that made that particular ensemble. If you would come forward, we had 8th grader, Miss Hannah Stanley. Yeah, come on up. Hannah is a second year select band participant. Third year, oh gosh, third year. I think it's been a year or so, getting old on me. She auditioned in 6th grade and has been the only middle school student that I've had that's ever made it in 6th grade. So super proud of her there. And she also made it last year in 7th grade, of course, and then this year her 3rd year in middle school, and she was the 3rd chair clarinet player. So I can't tell you exact number of clarinets that auditioned, but somewhere probably between 40 and 50 clarinets in Northern Kentucky, and our own Hannah made 3rd chair. So that was awesome. And I asked Hannah just to play a little excerpt for you from her audition music, just so that you can kind of see, if you've been to a typical middle school band concert, half notes, whole notes, and 8th notes. By 8th grade, we're doing some 16th note stuff. It's kind of fun. But this music that you'll hear is a little more difficult and challenging, like I said, than maybe our normal repertoire. So I asked Hannah if she wouldn't mind to share just a few bars of one of the pieces that she did for her audition. ensemble. Again, out of the 347 that auditioned, they only kept this slim number, 83 in the 8th grade ensemble. We also had some students that made our 6th and 7th grade band. Again, this isn't something I usually open up to 6th graders unless I have a really excited go-getter who's willing to put in the time and effort to make that audition, but we had lots of 7th graders this year that participated. So totally excited about that, their eagerness, and these are the gentlemen that made that ensemble. We had RJ Bowen. RJ made 4th chair French horn. Yeah, come on up, RJ. We had Mr. Logan Prompt, who made 11th chair on the trumpet. We had Mr. Ben Turner, who was 6th chair trumpet. There you go. And we had one that couldn't make it tonight because he was sick, but we had Graham Dancer, who made 4th chair trombone. For their extra effort. This is something that, again, I offer up to them, don't require it of them. Some people do, but they, all 4 of the gentlemen actually that were in the 7th grade group are studying privately. They're working after school hours to improve themselves and make themselves great on their instrument. And this is the future of our middle school band program and our high school band program that's all, supporting those ball teams tonight. So they weren't able to be here, but I would just like to say that we had 6 students that made that high school select band group as well. They have not had their event yet. It's in March, but so we'll recognize those students as well. But we did have a great representation from our high school students as well. Super proud of these middle school guys for just participating in that. So awesome job. Our middle school program, band program is continuing to grow and flourish. Our 8th grade group is small but mighty. We're excited to have a concert coming up on March the 2nd. No, April the 2nd. I changed that. Whoops. It was March 26th, but we changed that due to a scheduling conflict. So April the 2nd. It's actually going to be here in the the high school gym. We're going to have middle school all the way through high school featured on that concert. So if you want to hear some great music, come out and support our music program at that performance on April the 2nd. Our middle school choir program, we have also, is going great. We've had lots of students that auditioned, and Mrs. Corstein's group will kind of talk a little bit about Allstate, but we had over 35 students that we submitted auditions for the middle school portion of the Allstate choir this year. We only had one 8th grader that made that audition, but he was a 2-timer as well. So this would have been his 2nd year to participate in that. Unfortunately, because of a conflict with wrestling, he wasn't able to attend the event, but he still gets some big props from me for actually making that ensemble. There's about 1,100 students that auditioned for 2 different ensembles throughout from across the state for that. And I'm super proud. His name is Chris Harward. If you see him, give him a good way to go, Chris. Super proud of him as well. So again, thank you guys. Thanks to the board for your support of our music programs. We're working hard to keep making great musicians. So I think, did you show your pictures? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. There were some pictures of the event that they had there. I think they had a great time. They worked really hard. They practiced for 2 days straight and had an awesome performance with conductors from Texas, right? Texas. We brought one in all the way from Texas, so she was awesome, and from Lexington area. So great experience for our kids. We'll keep offering those to them, and hopefully they'll keep running with it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Erin Corstein, and I work with our high school seniors. Go on, come on. Don't leave me up here by myself. This is just a collection of members from our full high school choir ensemble. Thank you very much for inviting us to be a part of the meeting tonight. Just a real quick rundown of some of our more recent events. Our full choir performed for a Cyclones hockey game at US Bank Arena back in January. And like Mrs. Hedges mentioned, we had a number of students represented in our all-state choral ensembles, which is a really big deal because that represents students from all across the state. These students work really hard to earn membership there. We had, like she said, we had Chris from her 8th grade choir, and the way KMEA does it, the junior high ensemble actually goes up to 9th grade. So we also had 2 of our 9th grade singers make that ensemble. So we had 3 in the junior high ensemble, and we had 5 of our high school singers in the high school ensemble, which was great. I'll go ahead and let our students introduce themselves real quickly.
I'm Monty Coyle. I'm Alexis Peterson.
I'm Annalise Butler. I'm Alyssa Henneke.
I'm Autumn Kellerman.
I'm Christian Dingus.
I'm Jonah Duncan. I'm Travis Williamson.
Blaine Hutterback.
These students, among others, we also participated in solo and ensemble assessment 2 weekends ago, which is an event where students can choose like beyond regular, concert repertoire that we're working on. They're working on small solo or small ensemble and solo performances, so like groups of 2 or 3 or 5, or they're by themselves performing a solo for a judge. And from that event, we had 7 students, or 7 groups, and soloists and ensembles earned distinguished ratings, and 4 performances earned proficient ratings. Very pleased with that. That takes a lot of courage and guts, as you well know, to get up and perform in front of a room full of people. So we would like to perform a piece, part of a piece for you from our winter concert. And before we do, a couple of our students wanted to say just a little bit about what music means to them. You're on.
My mom is a singer. My brother is a singer. My sister is a singer, and I'm a singer. And we each were either members or are members of choir for similar reasons. But the one thing that unites it all is the ability to work on the skills of coordination and memorization. That's also just kind of fun.
Choir is really important to me because before I was born, my mom trained to be an opera singer and was going to go tour the world, and then I happened. So she stayed in Kentucky and grew up. I grew up listening to her sing really loud in the house all over and listening to her opera music in Italian and French. And it really made me look up to her as not only a parent but a performer, and it made me want to be like her. So my entire life I've tried to be the best that I can musically, and choir is one of the outlets that I have to do that.
Thanks, gentlemen. They happen to be our volunteers, and they also happen to have like a really rich, deep family connection to music. I'd like to share also, we have lots of students who join just because their friends were in. And I love to work with students of all ability levels. We all, we bring the students in because it's something we believe really nourishes the mind and the soul. So we'll sing for you now a piece, the first verse of John Dowland's Come Again.
Come again, sweet Lord of mine eyes, thy grace is thy friend, to do me to delight, to see, to hear, to touch, to kiss, to die.
That was amazing. Thank you guys. Good job. Okay, before we go into the principal's report, if anyone would like to excuse themselves, you can at this time. You're not allowed. Only like the back. I should say kindergarten. All right, moving into principal report. Rob, would you like to speak your report?
I do not want to follow that.
Let's hear it.
Well, I will try.
Maybe you should sing it.
The numbers are looking about where they were last year.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe not.
The rundown of monthly items there, you guys had a chance to read through those. I was going to recognize Ms. Dingus, but she's gone. She was one of my bullet points there, hosting the Governor's Cup at our school earlier this month. She did a great job. She's our main coach for that. But moving along there, our next page, I just thought you might be interested in knowing how we look on kindergarten thus far. We've been keeping track of our enrollment numbers, obviously, but we have just started keeping track of what they look like right after kindergarten kind of registration blitz week. So we've only have really 2 years of data for that, but as you can see, we're ahead of where we were this time last year. And you can kind of see the numbers were that actually were with us on opening day. We're kind of steady there for 3 years, and then last year really exploded. So, and that was due partially to some out-of-district kids that applied, but we just have a lot more people moving into our area too. So, you can. We'll give you an update here each month as we go through, but where we are right now is listed. So, the next page there. Another thing we deal with a lot at the elementary school is family engagement.
Time's up.
That was my time. One thing we deal with a lot is family engagement, and just one small piece of that, well, it is a big piece, but one part of that is AR nights, which I do comment on from time to time. This here, though, shows you all the way back to 2007-8 school year. So if you want to scroll down to the next page, it's the most recent figures. There you go. We're almost there. There we are, 18-19. So you can see there, we will have had 4 AR nights. And so, and each of those numbers there represents the number of students that come. That's not even the families that show up, and the brothers and the sisters that might not even go to our school yet. So we're bringing kids into the school building, as you know. Everybody here has been a part of that, your own kids. So you know how that goes. We've usually got little bitty ones who are kind of coming to school and getting the lay of the land and starting to see what coming to school is all about and getting excited about reading. It kind of connects the families with the students and the school, all in the name of literacy. So what better event could you have than something like this? And we really do get great numbers for that. So, and I just thought Jackie Schaefer is our keeper of this information, and she has been our RTA teacher since that very first year that you see there, and has done a great job with it. She's the main coordinator of all the AR nights. She's the main person who stocks all the prizes and the arts and crafts and the books that we give away and gets the food. She really does a ton with that. So, but it is a great family engagement opportunity for us, and I thought you would be interested in knowing just how good it is, because it really does bring people in. Any questions?
Thank you. Thanks, Rob. Mr. Moore Wessel?
Are you gonna sing for us?
Absolutely not. But thanks for the invite. I'm just giving you a report, follow up on the same thing I did last February. If you want to pull up the document, I think most everybody has seen it at one point in time, but this is just something that I created in 16-17 to kind of help just give a general idea of what we kind of do every day and everything we're trying to do. It has to link to one of these 6 areas. So that hasn't changed a bit. So anybody that, like Kyle, if you haven't seen that, I'd be happy to talk a little bit more about what that is, but that's just something organizational that we're using to keep us focused on what we're trying to do. So just an update, we've continued with Kagan. It's one of the things we do. We're not trying to hang a sign out front that says we're a Kagan school. It's just one of the strategies we use within what we're trying to do. Still working on that common language, just trying to make it a process. It seems simple to say we got 7 thinking strategies, just go do them, but that's not what we're trying to do. Everything that we've heard from schools that have done this to make it successful, it has to be a process. So we've got 5 of them out there, and it's not meaning the other 2 aren't being used. It's just we haven't made it a focus yet, and that'll probably be the start of next year. We did another book study this year, Eric Jensen. We did one last year, just on our really looking with our students from poverty. The free and reduced numbers go up, so it's instructional strategies. And so I meet monthly with the grade levels, and we just kind of talk about the strategies. I ask them to go try something they haven't tried before, and then we just reflect on that and try to just get an understanding of where kids from poverty are coming from, because it has been a shift for a lot of our staff. Workshop model classroom, I'm very happy with where we're at when I go in and I see teachers working on, really the idea is to get kids thinking and challenge them and having them think about their thinking. The content's always going to be there. Really like some of the things I'm seeing here in the second year that we've really tried to fully work on implementing this. And then we did change our special education structure a little bit with the collaboration and the resource room services. Very set up there in all the classes with the special ed students, and then the addition of the resource room, and Mr. Couch is awesome in that position. I'm really interested to see what kind of results we got out of some of those kids just with 1 year, but really liking what I'm seeing there. As far as future plans, I did meet with the leadership team yesterday, end of February, when we haven't had a snow day or a day off in a while. Probably not the best time to meet with your leadership team, but a lot of good feedback is what I get from that group. And it's the tough time of year, and some kids that are squirrelier this time of year, but really we want to focus on some of that social emotional learning. If you've heard something about that, there's a lot of trauma-informed care stuff. There's a lot of things going on out there. Really just trying to equip the teachers with some of that information, and obviously continue what we're doing. I mean, what we're doing is a process, and we're not going to go away from that. It's just making the adjustments. Struggling learners is always a thing. Actually, today, Rob, Joanne, and Luke Patterson and I went. I think Michelle went earlier in the day. Gene Kearns came. He's from Renaissance Learning. Thank you. And it was a good 3 hours. I mean, I came back with pages of notes, and it's like, God, this is something that we just talked about yesterday that goes here. So a lot of things with thinking and reading and different things that aren't always just related back to high stakes testing, which I really enjoy not talking about when you get other data that shows that how kids are performing. So really gave me a lot of other ideas to explore. We're exploring a couple things even for this year for some of our kids. Just a lot of different things out there, and we're always open to suggestions. So if somebody hears something that we have something in the works for a couple things with our boys, and have a couple resources for something for our girls, just to hear some things that I think will be good for our kids, not just for test scores or anything else, just for being kids. We got a big 7th grade group that comes with challenges, but we're good.
Thank you, Eric. Anybody have any questions? No. Thank you.
And Joanne sends her love.
He has to say,
She's
they're
at
not
the
here,
ball
I'm
game.
assuming they're at the ball game, which I just got notification we won.
66-38, yeah.
And the tweet said that we are the only 8th region school with both boy and girl in the semifinals. That's pretty exciting. So, girls play Saturday at 3, I believe it said. Boys tomorrow at 8. Is that right? 8. I'm here. Okay, so moving on. Well, did anybody have any questions about Joanne's report? Shoot her an email, I guess, if you do. Okay, moving on to the construction report. Jeremy?
All right. We gave you a rundown of the situation we had on the track. We did send samples out to get tested. We did a redacted DACA one. They showed up today to do some cameras at the drain lines. They had some problems this morning with equipment not running right. I believe they, from what just told me, I believe they did get into it later this afternoon around 2:30-ish, I think. So hopefully that field will get closed up within the next week.
How long will that test take
Oh,
to come back, like the results?
well, there's a couple things that are out. Right now, they've taken the core samples and they've sent them all to a lab, so I'm optimistic a few days to find back. They said they could test for gasoline or any kind of petroleum-based thing would be on there, whether it be diesel or gasoline. Then today, I don't have the findings back because their track hoe broke. They're all sitting there, Jeremy, and waiting for them to relieve the concrete and take a look in there, and it died. And so after about 10 minutes of trying to get the air out of the diesel lines and all that, we decided to punt, and they called like 2:30, said, hey, we're in it, so I don't have the findings at that point, because I wasn't able to come back. But then we're actually meeting down there tomorrow, again, and that's the backup company from Louisville that's gonna come up, that I'm just trying to get some manpower options in case the Michigan crew only sends one person. There's 600 things to fix, and we have 2 days, so I just don't want to be in that predicament, so.
Okay, thank you.
Probably seen some progress on the early childhood there. Putting in they're starting on the south side now where the playground's going in, get some of that drainage and cleaned up so we can start getting it graded. Playground equipment's on its way, probably 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully sooner. And then probably another 2 weeks after that before we actually get it installed. And looks like they're starting to do the concrete around, they're forming up the concrete around the edges, so looks like the south end's coming together, and they got a lot of windows in, it's painted, the classroom wings pretty much painted. I was in there today and it looked pretty good. I think the HVAC is probably about 50 to 60% done. It looks like the water roughning's almost completely done on one side, and maybe like the back where the mechanical room is, water heaters, they haven't started that yet because their water heaters aren't in yet. So looks like everything's right on schedule with the way they had it lined up. So we're talking a May end date, beginning, middle, hopefully. I'm going for beginning, but
Yeah.
you know, when it gets cold, they can't light it for it.
Right.
Concrete will hang go down.
I had a question, and we might have already talked about this, and it's just like slipped my mind, but cameras, with like the playground equipment and stuff, I know the park has had issues in the past and stuff too. Are we going to have cameras out there on our?
All the way around the building.
Okay.
The building.
Did we talk about that already, or did I miss that?
No, the fence is 8 foot around the whole.
Well, I knew it'd be fenced in, obviously, if you've got children out there. I didn't know about the,
When we first.
We have
started.
cameras.
did we talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like
I couldn't remember if
a
we did
year
or
ago
not.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for you to know then, because I couldn't remember. I mean, I figured we did, I just couldn't remember for sure.
Yeah, we're camera happy here.
I know, we like cameras. That's good, that's, our stuff's protected, that's fine. I mean,
Katie, you like that.
good. Okay. Okay, thank you. I figured we did, I just wanted to double check.
We got the middle school renovation. We met with the Boone County Building Department and the Fire Department and tried to work out a plan of how we can actually get the ball rolling here. And they have approved some of the ceiling removal, except like sprinkler heads, the camera pads are gonna stay in, some of the motion sensors, so we can start tagging the lines, trying to stay away from the elementary school where we just start chopping stuff and it becomes an issue. So we wanna go through and start tagging the lines we know we need so that they don't get demoed out. That way we have less of an issue down the road. So we're gonna start ahead of time on that. That way we get a good month of tagging lines here and there. Probably can't spend all day doing it. And we're gonna start, they can start on the bathrooms a little early with the plan they worked out. They're just gonna blockade the wall downstairs by the ag room and start in those bathrooms. And then with the brisk room down there, they're gonna kind of close that all off so that students can't get into them. It's all been approved, so we have a go by the building department and the fire department to do all that. Most of it will probably be done a little bit after school because of noise. You really can't do a whole lot with the ag room down there. Kind of disturbs their learning. I will say Eric and Troy have been great with all my needs. I'm a little needy right now. They are cooperating great. Just wanted to say thank you. They did talk about going through the rooms and kind of placing these type of units inside the classrooms and just creating a little hole essentially in the classroom, and then some of the pads in front of that. Typically for every classroom you'll see going down, so you'll see a little bit of an opening. Those units will sit there, but they won't be running, just to kind of get ahead of the game. Better sooner than later, as you all know. They did say that it'll probably be more towards August 3rd now with the snow days and, you know, school getting pushed back a couple days. I guess with the schedule, so he's thinking maybe August 3rd-ish now. And I think they're just doing that because of snow days. Hopefully not, hopefully it's August 1st, but we are losing a couple days here and there, so hopefully no more snow. That's what I need.
Don't look at somebody's forecasting.
Yeah, don't need any more.
I agree.
That's all I have for the construction report. Any other questions?
Any questions for Jeremy?
You all need to know?
Thank you, appreciate it. Next is the attendance enrollment report. I believe Kim forgot to.
Board members, I apologize, that is not in your packet. We will get that report to you tomorrow. We'll email it to you.
Okay.
I apologize.
Moving on to personnel, did everybody have a chance to look at that? Next, we'll go into other. Dr. Baker?
Board members, I have a couple things. Within the last couple weeks, the boards of education in Boone and Kenton counties have both approved memorandums of understanding, or MOUs, to form Ignite. And I'm sure you've heard a lot about Ignite, and they're starting to really heavily advertise that on social media. Been in contact with a couple different folks in Boone County Central Office, and I'm waiting on an MOU, a memorandum of understanding between our district and Boone and Kenton counties. As soon as I get that, I'll email it to you for your review. I will tell you, and I've expressed this concern to folks with the Boone County District. The cost of attendance is approximately $8,500 at this point. We would release SEEK funding, which would cover approximately $4,000, which leaves $4,500 per student per year. So if a student is admitted as a freshman, the total cost of attendance over a 4-year period is $18,000. There are individuals, entities that are actively raising money from the private sector, from the business sector to help fund that. But I'm concerned about any potential financial obligations and want to kind of protect us from that. If we have students who want to attend Ignite, my recommendation would be that we look at some type of agreement with that student's parents, where we're sure that those parents understand that if the fundraising falls short, that additional $4,500 per child per year would be, the obligation of the parents and not the school district. Some parents have the resources to do that, others do not, and certainly if you decide to approve an MOU and allow our kids to attend Ignite, if they spend a year at Ignite and want to come back, we would of course welcome them with open arms. But I want you to understand, that dynamic, and as soon as I get the MOU from Boone County, I'll immediately get that to you, and that would require your formal approval in a board meeting. So, just kind of waiting on that. Also, wanted to recognize our Vice Chair, Mr. Turner, who's been appointed to the KSBA Educational Foundation. This is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is governed by a 9-member board of directors and is appointed by, I think, Carrie Shelling at KSBA. And this foundation provides support to KSBA in increasing the effectiveness of school boards, promoting the well-being of students, and strengthening public schools. So it's a charitable entity which funds KSBA's first-degree college scholarship program for students who would be the first members of their immediate families to receive a degree from an institution of higher learning. So congratulations. Thank you. And that's all I have.
Okay. I have a couple of things that are other. We kind of got sidetracked. David and Heather know, Kyle and Stacy may not. The first meeting, we did not come up with champs. And this is something to kind of give you to a background is we had several different positions. We had a policy champ that was in charge of policy, going through the policy, looking what needs to be updated, showing, we read through it, they were in charge of changing things, updating them, getting rid of the old policy that didn't apply anymore. We had a communication chair, or champ, we had a finance champ, that person was the one that, when Kevin sends us the emails with all the bills, we would go through them, and then we would forward those all to the champ, and then the champ would compose one email, send it to Kevin with all of us attached. That's kind of what Kevin's been doing, like in this email. He'll answer back in red. That way, Kevin's not getting 5 emails with the same questions or whatever. And then there was recognition, and that person just recognized some of our staff, teacher staff, whatever, throughout the district that maybe went above and beyond, or something that was happening. I know one year I did it, and I did birthday cards one year, and just things that were going on, with the band and the choir ensemble, those kind of things. Like, you would just recognize those teachers or staff doing that. So, in saying that, it does not have to remain the same. I really don't, in my personal opinion, I think communication is kind of redundant, because now we have a Facebook page that, everybody's communicating, or the district's finding stuff out through that. So, in my opinion, I don't really see a need for the communication, but we can come up with something new, or we can just let it go, or whatever. So, if you guys want to, you guys can speak freely at this point in time. Anybody, like, if you want to do a certain position, if you think that somebody would be good at it, and you kind of want to, like, nominate them, you can do that. If you can think of a different position that you think that we could do as a board that would be good for the district, that now would be the time to give it to me.
So what all was there before?
Before, there was policy, recognition, finance, and communication.
I'd be interested in doing the finance.
Okay. All right.
Or the recognition, whatever.
Okay.
Not both.
No. There's four. One for everybody.
I would be willing to do the recognition, but the finances, Stacy or somebody else.
Okay. Heather, is there anything you prefer? Do you have a new idea?
Not right now.
David, do you have any ideas?
I'm willing to work wherever the board needs me on this. I'm pretty open on this.
I'm thinking there's so much goodness going on and so many activities. Could we maybe have like a coordinator position to let us know, like, this week this is all the stuff that's going on? Like band, sports, this person's this way, or this week this is what's going on. So at least we kind of know it's summarized instead of reading it day by day or going to the calendar every day. I don't know. I'm just thinking there's a lot of great things going on, and I don't want to miss something.
Right.
I don't know what that position would look like, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Some of the that would
So
be
someone
nice.
just say, hey, here's the schedule of events this week for everybody.
Everything.
That way we can kind of
that way you know.
Middle, high
You know
school.
what's going on.
Because maybe I want to go to AR night, and I'm not in the AR world anymore. But I might want to just go. I don't know. I just think it's something that would be nice.
Heather, is that something you want to do?
I can.
I mean, because you still have a middle schooler, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're in contact with the elementary quite a bit still, right? Like if you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you want to do that?
I mean, are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, and you can kind of really and truly, based on what Stacy said, I'm fine with that. You can kind of make it whatever you want, since it's new and.
Be prepared.
This doesn't mean Heather's going to assign us places to go, right?
Yes, I am. I'm in charge.
I'm going to be wearing a Dr. Seuss costume.
Probably be better than Dr. Seuss.
I'll just make sure there's extra batteries. If it's a blow.
I mean, we have
If it's a
policy.
T-Rex.
What are your all's thoughts on policy? We just did policy for like 4 years, so it's pretty much updated, and it's KSBA written and all. I mean, we've done that. Is there something else?
With your new role, David, do you think there's anything that you could bring to us with what you're doing there?
certainly could. I think the new role that I have is, there's a lot of opportunity in there. We will meet, our next meeting will be in early July, and I think at that point we'll set the structure for the meetings for the rest of the year, but, you know, kind of like a liaison or an ambassador kind of thing. I mean, if the board's interested in that, we could certainly do something like that.
Well, what about like, you could be like our KSBA person, because you seem to know a lot that's going on there as far as like across the state. You could kind of keep us up to date on what legislative things are going on or what, and then
I like
anything you
that, and I
want
think
to
in one of those mini sessions we were in, we could be like a district of distinction at the KSBA, so just maybe lead us in that direction of how we need to get there, because I mean, it's nice to be acknowledged at that level. I don't know.
That's something you want to do?
Yeah, if that's something that, you know, it's up to the board, but I'm definitely willing to do that if that's something we find valuable.
I mean, what is your all's take on this? I mean, I know you two with policy, you know, but the three of us, I mean, we went through it, we deconstructed them, we redid them, we KSBA, you know, they're all there, so. And now if something comes out, it's usually just one, you know, update that KSBA, it's not like the whole thing, so I don't.
When they
feel
come
like
out, you
policy-
really don't have a say.
Exactly. Right, so like when Susan and I forget who else did it, we update them and you know, the whole tobacco policy and all that kind of stuff, that's already all been done, so I kind of feel like that's just kind of, I mean, I don't really feel like it's effective at this point, because we've already done it.
Maybe after March, we do strategic planning, because there, for every objective, there will be an action plan.
Right.
Maybe something, I feel pretty confident saying, something will come out of that, that somebody may want to take on if they feel really passionate about something, because there will be multiple things that need to be done with that.
Okay.
So,
So should we hold off to?
Or maybe David could just do it at the phone.
I'll just do two. I'll do this one and
That's it?
whatever we determine after March.
Because
I'm open.
I really do like the KSBA, because those emails come in and I peruse them really quickly and I try to get all in. And I know that's something you like to do and you're always on top of it, so I think that would be good, like what's going on at the legislature, what House bill we need to know about, and that kind of stuff. So I think that would be a good fit, and then on top of it, with that board.
Because I've read some things about site-based that are coming down, and I don't really understand if we're supposed to participate in that or not, but I would like to know a little bit more.
Sure.
If you could kind
Yeah,
of knock it down a little bit.
Yep, I'd be willing to do that. And last year I attended the Kentucky Association of School Council meeting, and I try to stay on top of all those things. So yeah, definitely willing to do that.
All right, so let's put you down at KSBA coordinator / to be determined in March. Does that sound good?
Sure.
And then if it's too much, then we can reevaluate. Maybe Heather will take KSBA.
I think it's one of those things, once you get the job, you
I mean, you only have to give us an email on Sunday night about the week's events. It could be all, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, because I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, so that's a lot.
Send us all the Twitter update.
Yeah, just copy and paste.
Copy and paste in an email, done.
But, okay, is everybody good with that then? Anybody? Okay, all right, well, that's
For
good.
the recognition, or is that what we're?
Kyle, yeah, we're gonna
Could
give
we
Kyle a
have,
chance
like,
here.
keep on track of having people come here, like, recognize the kids and the teachers that are doing great things once a month?
Yeah, that's what, with the spotlight report, that's what we're,
We've
yeah.
been,
Oh, okay.
we've been
Yeah.
getting stuff lined up.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's good.
Usually that doesn't come from us, that comes from the board office, because they'll keep us in the loop of what's going on, whether it would be this or a presentation or a child that got an award, they'll come and talk about that kind of thing, so
Good.
they're good on that. But Kyle's role, and again, just because it's what it always was doesn't mean it has to stay that way. In the past, that's what recognition was for. If you see an opportunity and you want to run with it, I mean, you don't have a budget, so just remember that.
Right.
But
Budget is zero.
budget is zero. So, you know, do it or run it by us or whatever. Like, you know, it's yours. You can make it your baby. It doesn't have to be just that.
I probably saw thank you cards
Can we give them a
from
budget?
last year.
I mean, the first year I did it, Dr. Stewart, one of our students made these Walton Verna cards that just had WV on the front and with like paw prints and stuff. And I went to a local, I won't say because we're on video, restaurant in Richwood, and they donated $5 like gift cards. They printed them up, And so I just wrote everybody a handwritten note that said happy birthday, put the $5 gift card to their restaurant and put it in their mailboxes. Like, I did it monthly.
Yeah.
I didn't do it like every day. Like, I'm like, oh, all your all are in June, so I'd go through and do them and do them in June. That kind of thing. That was mine. So he, I don't know, the cards maybe were 50, 60 bucks, I don't even remember. But you know, he's like, yeah, go ahead, that's fine. And then I had that donated from them, so.
That's what I was thinking, like $50 to $100.
Yeah, I mean,
for
if
the
you need
year.
something, I mean, I'm sure it would be an issue, but like that, but yeah, you don't have a big budget to go. Like, I know one time we talked about like doing, and we didn't do it, a teacher of the month and having the principals, recommend, and then having like a special parking spot up front for them, that kind of thing. Just something like that, which we never did it, and I don't remember why we didn't do that, and if something was an issue, I don't remember, but, I mean, it's something you could do, so just do what you want. But the principals don't ever qualify for that. They don't get the front spot.
No, I'm just saying we put it up there right now, right next to the.
Oh, yeah, you've got so much room out here, yeah. So you can do what you know, make it what you want. And then Stacy with finance, it is kind of what it is. We'll just sit, like,
Do we have a
Paula,
date by?
well, Paula used to send out an email. Kevin would say the day, Kevin sent it out, she would send us email saying, hey, check your email, Kevin sent out the finance, or the bills. Get them to me, say it's Friday, get them to me, any of your questions by Sunday, I'm submitting an email, it's Kevin Monday morning. So she would remind us it was there, give us a date to submit our questions to her by. She would come up with a big one, she would send it to Kevin, copy us on it, like we were copying on the one to Kevin, and then he would respond to all and put it in red, so.
Ideally, yeah.
Ideally.
Except for like when I forget to do it.
Yeah, like today, but anyway, so you're kind of, you don't have much flexibility, that is what it is, but, okay, well, that sounds good, and that's good. Another thing real quick, preschool, not preschool, Caitlin. Did your, remember you said you were going, your therapists were going to go to that conference and you were going to report back? Did they go?
Mm-hmm.
And how was it?
They got a lot of really good information.
They did?
Yes.
They felt like it was useful
I was
and?
getting text messages while it was happening that it was really great information. So I'm really glad that they went, and I think they got what they needed.
They did, okay. Because I just want to be able to follow up with that mother and let her know, you know, what the status was on that and if they felt like they got enough or if they needed more. Because if they need more, then I feel like that's what we should provide for them, because 5 students like that, it's a lot. They help the students more that way. Okay. I didn't have anything else. Anybody else?
Is there a way that, I haven't toured the schools, is there any way that, because when you're talking about the ag room, I don't really know where that is. Can I set up a time to, I've been in the elementary school, but, I mean.
Contact the principals.
Okay, just kind of walk through?
Yeah.
Alright. Thank
Yeah.
you. Because I want to see the
My door's always
classrooms
open.
and see the.
Right,
Is it?
they're talking
You're never in there.
His door's always open, he might have a guard out in front, but he's on the other side, but.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, there was no audience of citizens, so we'll move past that. We'll move into recommended board motions. First would be the approval of the minutes.
I'll make it.
First by David. Discussions or questions? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Stacy? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the approval of the treasurer's report.
I'll make the motion.
I'm gonna fight with technology.
My motion by David. Discussions or questions? Is there a second?
Where are we at?
I'll make it.
Are you guys so quiet tonight? All in favor?
Well, my thing kinda,
Motion passes 5-0.
No, we're on the next one.
Did your computer not?
yeah, just, we're back to
Okay.
I was gonna say,
going.
sometimes if you just go back, it'll.
Next is the approve the order of the treasurer, the bills.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Discussions or questions? Did you guys see? Kevin emailed us back today, but he
My
also
apologies,
printed us.
I just completely forgot about
It's
that.
all right.
And I sent it out earlier, but I did print copies in case you didn't have a chance to look at email, you know, between 4 o'clock and now. So if you can take a minute to look at those, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to explain them, but pretty standard stuff, yes.
So, how many did we actually purchase? Like, did we
What are you referring to?
So it says, this one's actually for equipment for shoulder pads.
Oh, yeah.
How many?
You know, I don't know, it was the whole team's worth. I don't
Okay,
know how
so it
many
just
it is.
wasn't
It was a lot.
3
and,
or 4.
Yeah, no. It was a bunch, and there was actually a thing they had where it was like buy one, get one free. So
Okay.
we kind of made the most of our thing. But yeah, as far as I know, it was a lot of them.
Okay.
So they're about 50 to 60 bucks a piece at least, so.
Yeah, I knew they were pricey in that amount. I was like, how many did we get from that?
Yeah, a
Okay.
lot. That's one
So
of
we're
those
good
things you
for
don't have
next
to buy all
season.
the time. It's like, they last for 5 or 6 years, I think, and they kind of recondition them a little bit, if there's just
It was time to buy
minor
them.
issues, but yeah, I think they were pretty old.
It was time to buy
And
them.
I think we did helmets a couple years ago. It's just one of the kind of a cycle thing to do, so.
Good job finding a coupon.
I had nothing to do with that, trust me. I just got the check,
And then for the maintenance truck, is that an old truck or is that?
They're all old trucks.
So are we repairing that one? I don't.
I know we had to tow it. What was the issue? We had to, one of our trucks, had to have it towed.
Calipers locked up.
Brakes didn't work.
It got pretty hot. It was,
Thanks.
there was smoke rolling out from the back of my truck.
So a lot, we talked about that, I want to say about a year and a half ago, about some of our maintenance vehicles. They're pretty old. That truck, what year is that truck, 2004?
It was about 93.
Okay, so they're getting pretty old. The fact that we do our own snow removal has a lot of benefits for us, like to be able to get in school and stuff kind of on our schedule. But that is hard on a vehicle, no matter, it doesn't have to be an old vehicle for it to, it's hard on a new vehicle too, but we've got some things to address there, in the upcoming years. It just kind of is what it is.
Okay.
We don't
I
have
was just curious,
too
since
many
we
problems,
towed it,
but
were we fixing it or are we just
yeah.
It's running.
done with it?
I'm driving.
Okay.
Any other questions for Kevin? Is there a second on the motion?
I'll make it.
Second by Kyle. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the approval of an unexecuted owner contract agreement for Walton Road paving project.
I'll make it.
First by David. Discussions or questions? Is there a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Kyle. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the approval of pay application 9 from Morale Construction for the Walton Road Early Childhood Center.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Discussions or questions? Is there a second? Second by Stacy. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the approval of change order 2 for the Walton Road Early Childhood Center.
I'll make it.
First by David. Discussions or questions?
I just had a couple questions. So, there's a lot going on in the changes here, and it looks like it's all great. I didn't know what we're moving from to. So I saw there's like pressure sensitive plates, and we've done some things with the crosswalks, but I don't know what it was before that.
Okay, what we had talked, and this is all in an effort to improve safety on our campus. We have a lot of kids who walk to school, and we have every reason to believe that number is going to increase in the next few years. So we originally looked at an option where we would put some additional sidewalks in on the far end of Alumni Drive, but that involved moving light poles and a lot of concrete. And I want to say the number we got was about $130,000. That was more than I was, willing to bring to you. So we looked at another option. And Carrie, could you actually pull up, I think it's the second attachment? Yeah, to look at kind of what we have worked out. And,
This one?
yeah, if you just enlarge that quite a bit. What we're talking about doing now is putting, if I can just keep enlarge it a little more if you don't care. Yeah. So we had talked originally about having a sidewalk come up the outside of Alumni Drive, a lot of concrete, moving light posts, all those things. What we decided on, there's a subdivision back in this area. So we decided on a fairly large concrete pad right here with a crosswalk with a couple different flashing illuminated crosswalk signs, one here pointing this direction and one here pointing that direction with a crosswalk, and the new sidewalk would come over here and tie in with what had been already planned in the early childhood center. We have to do some new retaining walls here to allow us to put the sidewalk in, but the cost on this is about half, a little more than half of the original, to put the sidewalk in here. I think the new number is 74,000, so it's still significant, but it's much less than what we had originally planned. But we just, we want to make our campus as safe as possible. Talk to Gabe a lot about getting some crosswalk signs out here going to Alta Vista and down by the tractor dealership. So this is just a piece of that, a plan to try to make campus as safe as we can.
There's like pressure plates that signal the lights.
Yeah. I think the email maybe was it last Friday or so, kind of touched on it'll all come out of contingency funds. We're to the point in this project, it's a new building, like shouldn't be a whole lot of surprise at this point. This would be a good thing. We've always had some kind of issues with kids having to walk on that road, especially in bad weather, along with cars, which makes me nervous. But we're gonna have a sidewalk network kind of from the back of the high school down to this corner, and then it just became clear, and also because now you used to be able to kind of see around that curve, you can't anymore. That there was a need for something there, and the plan long term would be off the back of that pad outside of the construction project, so we're not paying kind of premium rates and paying the upcharge of the contractor because it's just concrete. We'll run our own sidewalk from that pad at some point during the summer, hopefully, back to that subdivision, and it'll tie in. And that way, if it's muddy, they don't have to walk in mud. They've got a concrete path all the way.
So on that kind of blind spot curve, like, I don't see anywhere in here like where we have any like speed bumps. Could you do that?
You can.
Those kids just fly in and out there. And that's a blind, if that's a blind spot, if you put some speed bumps there, would that not slow those teenagers down a little bit?
Probably.
Are we?
Probably not, you're right.
Sometimes that may cause you to have some control issues too.
Well, that's why I figured you all would know, but I just thought I would ask.
Those lights are pretty bright, and they're on a signal to where they can push them and they flash.
Right, I see that, same the illuminated ones. I
don't know if I think I attached some, did I send you there was a breakdown of what it would look like with the flashing lights. It's on a website.
Yeah, I have it.
It was on a website. I think I thought I put a link on one of them.
So the point I was making, it comes out of contingency funds, so it's already money that's bonded. It's not extra like general fund money or anything. It's there. It can't be used for anything other than construction at this point, either on this project or another project. So I think I don't think you put a price on safety. This is something that we needed. And if people really wanted to take the long way around, you will be able to walk from Old Stevenson Mill all the way down to School Road. Now you'll have to walk around the preschool and kind of down, the drive there in front of the bus loop. But I still suspect that we'll have people walking across that section of the road. But at drop-off pickup times, we won't have that issue with students kind of in a blind curve with a bunch of traffic at one time.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is that the only crosswalk we're putting in, the lights?
There's two, I think. There's one down the
Well,
bottom.
the city's gonna put in, unless things have changed, Gabe talked about putting them in.
No, I've talked to Gabe within the last 2 weeks about the crosswalk here with the flashing lights, one to Alta Vista, and then possibly another one down at the bottom of the hill. So we'll work with the city on that. Yeah.
There's many kids starting.
Yeah.
No, I know. All right, is there a second on that?
I'll do
Second by Kyle. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the approval of the 2019-2020 student accident insurance carrier.
I'll make it.
First by David. Discussions or questions?
I see this, I'm assuming that we shopped a bunch of bids and all that, and I just see the one policy, that's all I know about it.
So we don't shop those for new, just any company every year. We have kind of a I don't know, our agent that we go through, Roberts Insurance, they look at all the pricing from different things, and they price out different options that we have within so name of K&K Insurance. They have some kind of different levels. We don't have the quote Cadillac policy anymore like we did years ago because it like tripled in price one year. But this provides well above what the KHSAA requires us to carry. We have it on all students, not just the catastrophic coverage, not just student athletes, and it's for all school events, not just a sanctioned like game. So we have that in place, and then the other piece of it is that all students are covered for like minor things as well, up to $25,000. Now it's not like in place of your health insurance policy, and it kind of supplements and you get money for X-rays back. You might get like $50 or whatever. But it's to help with that as a secondary insurance for things that happen here at school. And I think I forget what the number was. The price went up like $1,100, $1,200 from what it was last year. We are to the point in the cycle where they'll rebid kind of and get different companies next year. But if they know you're going to reprice them every year, it's hard to get kind of a long-term like client rate that we do, and that's the same with our property insurance too. As long as it's within reason, they don't go to the market every year and test everybody that's available. So they'll do that again next year. I think that'll be our 3rd year with them, but it's the same coverage that we have this year, which makes it easy for our nurses and for the athletic department when we have injuries to kind of communicate that. And unfortunately, things will happen and it crosses over years, and so we'll get that. It'll be the same exact thing we've had for the last 2 years, and then we'll look at it again. And that's similar to what we've done with dental insurance and vision insurance in the past as well.
Any other questions for Kevin on that? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Stacy. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the first reading of policy 03.11, certified personnel hiring.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Discussions or questions? Is there a second?
I'll make it.
Second by David. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the first reading of policy 03.21, classified personnel hiring.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Discussions or questions? Is there a second?
I'll make it.
Second by David. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is approval of the field trips.
I'll make it.
First by Kyle. Any discussions or questions? Is there a second?
Make it.
Second by David. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is acknowledge receipt of the superintendent's personnel actions regarding FMLA leave. See personnel.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Is there a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Kyle. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next is adjournment.
I'll make it.
First by Heather.
Don't get too excited.
First by Heather. I'm going to go ahead and let you.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Kyle. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned at 8:34. Thank you guys for coming.